Today, I'm going to present another new part for the fans of the air-cooled universe of Beetles and derivatives with an air-cooled Volkswagen engine, which is the SPA Turbo's Super Slim Oil Sump. We know some oil sumps on the market from some very old and established brands, and we came up with the idea of making some differences to offer on the market. For those who don't know, I'm a fan of Beetles, and I love air-cooled Volkswagen engines. And we thought about the people who drive lower cars, generally. Those who prepare the car end up lowering it a little. And the oil sumps, for those who don't know, they are an oil deposit, let's say, an extra, which is located at the bottom of the original engine, and it stores more oil for prepared engines, because we know that the air-cooled engine has basically just air and oil to cool it down. So the more oil, the better the heat exchange. Not to mention that sometimes in curves, fast accelerations, if you have a larger volume of oil, the chance of the oil pickup not sucking up the oil is much smaller with a much larger volume of oil. But then what happens with this deposit under the engine, it ends getting too high, and the chance of it catching on the ground is very high, because generally oil sumps stay very low. So what we did a totally different project. So we expanded it to the sides, which is no problem. It doesn't affect the cooling at all. And it doesn't interfere with the engine, and made it slim, so it has a volume of 2.1 liters. That is larger than the vast majority of competitors, which is usually around 1.5 liters. So it has 2.1 liters. Remembering that the original air engine has 2.5 liters, so it's almost the capacity of the original engine, almost double, let's say, of the original capacity that you'll have with the Super Slim Oil Sump from the SPA Turbo. It's made of aluminum. So it's light and resistant, of course. It's not worth abusing. You'll have to be careful, even though it's slim, not to hit the ground, that bump, the ditch, things like that. Because even though it's slim, if it hits the ground just like any other material, even the block itself, you're going to have problems. And we did a really cool project with these fins. So the cooling fin are in both in the lower part here, which in this case will come with the oil sump cover here, and in the upper part that goes to be connected to the engine block. So the air will pass here and will help to cool this oil too, as well as the original design of the heads and the air-cooled Volkswagen block, other really cool details. These are what we call bung here, both here and on the back here. What are they for? So you can connect temperature sensors, depending, even a level sensor, and also connect the oil return system for those using a turbo. Then you no longer need to drill your engine block, because here, let's assume you drill, clean it, and install it. If you already have the engine ready, you don't want to drill your block, because in that case, too much dirt will go into the engine. You'll have to open the engine, that whole problem. So here it is much easier. You drill here and can do the return without having to drill your block. Not to mention that sometimes people don't like drilling the block. Sometimes later you want to sell the engine, something like that. There's that hole there. A lot of people don't like using a cap, something like that, or the turbo will be removed. So there are these really cool ideas, and so I think the biggest appeal is the super slim construction and the 2.1 liters capacity. These really are differences that attract attention, that shine the eyes of those who loves Beetles, of those who know the importance of a high capacity oil sump, of a better oil supply, so to speak, in the case of air-cooled engines. And we also have several other components for the Volkswagen air-cooled lubrication line, which I will leave here in the card above, which we have already presented, already launched on the market, which I am sure will also complement this new feature here at SPA. And just one detail, that to carry out the installation, you will need an oil pickup extension tube so that it can get the oil from the bottom of the oil sump. This is not included, so it's up to you whether you want to make a tube secured by a clamp welded. This is not included. What comes with the kit in this case are the gaskets for you to install the studs, locking nuts, and the nuts on the bottom part of the crankcase. And another cool detail, which we recommend at least the use of a 26mm pump. So the Beetles original pumps are 21mm 26, and there are high flow pumps of 30 to 32 millimeters with or without an external outlet. So we recommend at least the 26mm pump for it to have suction capacity, for the pressure to increase, because you will have a higher oil level. You will also need a higher oil pressure to keep up with the system. So, I hope you enjoyed checking out the content here in this new feature that SPA Turbo is bringing to the market for air-cooled Volkswagen engines.